Taoiseach, a medical breakthrough that can double life expectancy is something that we should embrace and not shy away from. Now, in the area of cystic fibrosis, it is regarded that the discovery and the emergence of the drug Kalydeco represents such a breakthrough and is the biggest single breakthrough in relation to the CF condition since the discovery of the gene mutation involved back in 1989. Forbes has described this drug as the most important drug of 2012. And for all those involved in the treatment of cystic fibrosis, it is genuinely seen as truly a game changer in terms of the quality of life of people with cystic fibrosis and in terms of life expectancy itself. The drug received FDA approval last July. It is now available in the United Kingdom, in Germany and in Canada. And it is the first drug to treat the underlying cause of CF with people of the condition, and particularly people with the G55ID mutation. 11% of Ireland's CF population have that particular gene. We have the highest occurrence of cystic fibrosis in the world in this country. And it strikes me as, to say the least, very disappointing indeed that we are so late to the game in terms of having this drug available for the patients concerned and for the people concerned, given its impact. There are very convincing arguments, Taoiseach, for this life-changing drug. It is still not cleared for use in Ireland, and just in the clinical trials alone, when it was going through, it decreased relapses by 55% in patients on clinical trials. Now, we've known about this drug for quite some time. Well over the last number of years, it's been going through the various regulatory systems and clinical trials. It could have a huge impact in terms of inpatient attendances and so forth. Can I ask you, Taoiseach, has the Minister for Health, or has anyone in the government met with the drug company Vertex, or has there been any proactive engagement with a view to ensuring the availability of this drug on the marketplace? And can you outline to the House the steps that have been taken by the government to ensure the availability of this drug to the people with this condition?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
Well, first of all, let me say that the Minister for Health announced on the 15th of October last year that intensive negotiations involving the IFA, the IPHA and the HSE and the Department of Health had reached a successful conclusion on a range of on a major deal on the cost of drugs in the state, and that the deal obviously is an important step in reducing the cost base of the health system here. That deal, which was concluded then, with a value in excess of 400 million over the next 3 years, clearly means reductions in the cost of drugs for patients, a lowering of the drugs billed to the state, but timely access for patients for new cutting-edge drugs for certain conditions, the cost attached to that of 70 million annually, and therefore reducing the cost base of the health system into the future. For Deputy Martin's information, the HSE received an application for the inclusion of Kalydeco with the generic name of ivacaftor in the GMS and community drug schemes. That application is being considered in line with the procedures which have been agreed with the Irish Pharmaceutical Healthcare Association in recent drugs agreements such as the one I've mentioned. And these procedures include clearly documented processes and timelines for the assessment of new medicines in as timely a fashion as possible. And in accordance, therefore, with those procedures, the National Centre for Pharmacoeconomics, the NCPE, conducted a health technology assessment which provides detailed information on the potential budget impact of the medicine involved. And it also assesses whether the medicine involved is cost-effective at the price quoted by the company in question, which is at 234,000 is absolutely very costly. Now, the NCP published its report on the 21st of January. That report concluded, and I quote, "In view of the very high drug acquisition cost, the significant budget impact, the absence of long-term clinical data, and the fact that the company has failed to demonstrate the cost-effectiveness of ivacaftor, we cannot recommend reimbursement of ivacaftor at the submitted price of €234,804 per patient per annum. A mechanism such as a performance-based risk-sharing scheme and/or a significant reduction in price could facilitate access to ivacaftor treatment for cystic fibrosis patients with the G55-1D CFTR mutation. That's what they concluded in their findings. Now, that report is an important input, Deputy Martin, to assist decision-making, and it will help to inform the next stage of the process, which involves further discussions between the HSE and the manufacturer of the drug. I understand yesterday that the Cystic Fibrosis Association of Ireland said that where they support the need for the HSE and the drugs company to get as good a deal as possible, I also recognise the concerns, clearly, of cystic fibrosis patients, a number of whom have contacted me, that a decision would be made as soon as possible. I listened to Mr. Barry speaking about this on the news the other day, and he did say that we are to proceed ahead with providing this particular treatment at this level of cost, that it would take 40% of the entire budget for drugs, which is obviously an issue that they took into account in the conclusion of their analysis.
Again, I repeat this. It's projected to double life expectancy. This is not any ordinary drug coming on the market in terms of just advancing incrementally treatments or intervention of treatments of particular conditions. This is truly a very significant game changer in a condition which has not witnessed such breakthroughs over a long period of time. And we know that in the United Kingdom, for example, the regime there in terms of licensing new drugs has been far stricter, with an even stronger regulatory impact than here over the years. Yet it is available in the United Kingdom. And NICE and NICE, or whichever way you want to call it, that's the authority in the UK which is responsible for the licensing of drugs, have approved this. And in the language coming from the National Centre, it is without question overwhelmingly on the budget side and on the cost side that this drug is being rejected and not put forward, not on the clinical trial side or not in terms of the health outcomes and the health impact of this particular drug. And all of these situations require a balance. Now, I asked you at the outset, had the Minister met with the company? And it seems to me, Taoiseach, that last year, and I know from talking in relation to quite a number of new technologies and new drugs that came on, there was a complete delay in terms of engagement into IPI drug and a range of other drugs last year. And what I get from your reply, unfortunately, is a disappointing sense that delay is going to be the order of the day here. And I think in the interests of the patients and the people with the particular condition, I would say to you that here is a case that does justify the intervention of the Minister and the Government with the company and all concerned to sort of knuckle down and sort out a situation where this drug can be made available. It happened last year in relation to IPI and others when it was raised. And I think it's important that people don't play a standoff scenario or engage in a standoff scenario on this particular issue, because the quality of life issues and the life expectancy issues are so profound that it demands a very proactive response from the government, one I would suggest we haven't seen on this particular drug to date.
It's not a case of delay as the order of the day here. Let me repeat again for you what the National Centre for Pharmacoeconomics, the NCPE, when they conducted their health technology assessment, what they said was, in view of the very high drug acquisition cost, the significant budget impact, the absence of long-term clinical data, and the fact that the company has failed to demonstrate the cost-effectiveness of ivacaftor, they were not willing to assess it. Now, you might as well know, Deputy, that there was a very rapid review submission on the drug, submitted on the 13th of August last year. That rapid review was completed on the 22nd of August last year. No delay there. And a full pharmacoeconomic assessment was advised. Following submission of that dossier, the NCP group met with the manufacturer on the 20th of November last year to discuss the submission, to request additional information. That was received on the 11th of December. I've given you the result of their assessment. They do say that the evaluation of the economic dossier submitted by the company and the estimate of the annual cost at 234,804 per patient. They also estimate that approximately between 113 and 120 patients could benefit from the drug. So based on those figures, the annual budget impact would range between 26.532 million to 28.176 million. Now, no more than anybody in here you can't put a price on a life, and obviously it's an effective drug. But there's an issue here that needs to be followed through. The next step, Deputy Martin, in this process is for the HSE to meet the manufacturer of the drug in accordance with the procedures that have been set out by IFA. When the Minister for Health met with them last year, he spoke about and concluded a deal for 400 million over 3 years. This is a new, very expensive drug with an impact for an estimated 113, 120 patients. I don't deny anybody the right to have the best quality of life that we can give them. It is a 26 to 28 million impact on the cost. And obviously ceilings have been set for the budget for this year. So the HSE will now meet with the company and see can some deal be worked out here. I don't want to preempt what the conclusion of that might be.
Thank you.